to just film like this. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, I just woke up from a nap like 10 minutes ago, so I'm kind of groggy and I apologize. I'm gonna do 50 facts about me. That's not 50, that's 10, but let's just ignore that, yeah? I have an entire list of facts. I was asking my parents to help me out. My dad was like, what is this for? It's a brief for prospective boyfriends. You know what? It's actually not a bad idea, I have to say. Number 1, I am Mexican, but I'm also Spanish. I was born in Mexico City, but then we moved to London when I was really little. And after that we moved to Washington, D.C., then back to Mexico, then Miami, then Holland. Then I moved to Milan for university, and now I'm in Geneva, where my parents live, and I'm moving to London soon. I visited over 100 countries. I was at something like 95 when I turned 18, and now I'm over 100, but I don't know how many because I just lost count. I used to train and dance. I did point for a while, but I also did modern pretty much my whole life and a little bit of hip hop. I have really messed up toes, and when I say messed up, I mean like I was born with mutant big toes, like they're weird looking. I have one brother and he's 23 and he lives in Amsterdam. I have 4 tattoos. I have a phobia, or like kind of a phobia of squeaky cups. Like, you know when you just washed your glass cup and it's like, I don't know, sometimes they dry smooth and sometimes they dry kind of squeaky and you can't pick them up and they like make noise and your fingers get stuck and I hate it, I can't stand it. I have a birthmark on my elbow. I don't know if you can see it, but it's just kind of like a dark spot. And my brother once asked me if it was soy sauce. Some girls like buying shoes, some girls like buying bags. I like buying coats. Even dead summer, I just bought one like 2 weeks ago and it's wool. I collect cameras and rocks, and if you saw my apartment video in Milan, you probably saw like half of my cameras. It's not all of them, but I think I've counted and now I have 8 cameras, and it's a mix of digital and analog cameras. I'm really bad at saving money. I can't do it. When I lived in Milan and I was doing my bachelor's, I was also working in a showroom where we sold designer collections to like department stores and little boutiques and stuff. One time on a business trip to Paris, I met Janice Dickinson at a photo shoot. Interesting to say the least. And I met Ellen Dakota Fanning at Colette. My favorite kind of music is, I guess, what they call like alternative rock. I like Arctic Monkeys, Vampire Weekend, Bon Iver, The Cooks, The Smiths, basically any band that starts with the I like. But I also like One Direction. I think they're really cute. I speak English and Spanish fluently. They're both my mother tongue. If you ask me which one I know better, I'd probably say English, but I grew up learning both of them exactly at the same time. But I also speak Italian, and I speak a little bit of French. I cut my own hair. I actually cut my hair last week, and I still don't know how I feel about it, but I still trust myself more than I trust any hairdresser. Back in high school, I decided I wanted to join a sports team, but I'm really bad at sports, and so I chose the only one that you didn't have to try out for, and that was a track team, and I was on it for a total of 2 days. I have a Scottish ancestor somewhere, which is why my second last name is Campbell. I love being alone. I had a near-death experience. We were whitewater rafting when I was like, I want to say like 10 years old or something, and it flipped over, and according to how it went in my head, I almost died, but that's probably not what happened at all. I was exaggerating, I bet. I've had 2 pet rabbits in my life, and they both died very violent deaths. One of them, I don't know what happened, but it just kind of stopped eating, and the other one was taken away to a farm, but I'm pretty sure that the guy took it and cooked it and made a nice meal out of it. I dyed my hair pink last year and I loved it, and I might do it again. I consider myself a night owl. I'm definitely my most productive in the middle of the night. I think in high school when I did IB art, I did all of my paintings at like 2 a.m. and they were my best ones. Speaking of paintings, I sold my first painting when I was 8 years old in Mexico City. I'm awful at cooking. Don't even ask me to make anything. I can't do it. I can toast bread, I can prepare cereal, anything like that, but I cannot cook at all. Ask any of my roommates. My birthday is in September, which makes me a Virgo, but I don't know what that means. The only thing I've ever heard is that Virgos know what they want, and I can tell you that that's not true. I'm definitely a bit of a hypochondriac. I always find something weird on my body. I never make my bed. I don't see the point. I crack my fingers like this incessantly. I can't help it. It's like yawning. I just have to do it. I'm about 5'7" or 170 centimeters. I used to have a chocolate Labrador named Baloo, like the bear in the Jungle Book. He lives in Mexico now, which is kind of sad, but I'm not really a sweets or dessert person. I would much rather have something spicy, I don't know. I don't know how to dive properly. Like, I have to hold my nose, otherwise I always get salt water up my nose and I can't help it. And I also can't dive down, I just kind of cannonball every time. I actually learned English with a British accent because I was a baby at the time when we were living in London. Our neighbors in London were the Gallagher brothers from Oasis, but this was in the early 90s, so they weren't that famous yet. I used to cross Abbey Road every single day on my way to daycare. My favorite animal is an elephant because they're really wise and they mourn the deaths of other elephants, and I think that's really cool. Sad, but it's cool. And my favorite color is gray. When I was younger, I used to hate beer and I always swore that I would never get into it, but my mom was like, just wait, one day you're gonna like it, and she was right. I like beer now. I have really awful memory. Like, I think I'm one of those people where my memory resets at night when I go to sleep. I think that's why I admire elephants so much. When I was little, I had two nicknames. The first one was Parrot because I used to talk way too much, and whenever someone tried to get a word in, I would tell them to shut up. And the second one was Bruja, which is witch in Spanish. I've never broken a bone, but every time I say that I have to knock on wood because I don't want to break a bone. My dream job my whole life was to be an obstetrician, and if you don't know what that is, I don't suggest that you look it up because you might get grossed out. My 9th grade math teacher told me my math wasn't good enough, so I changed my mind. I used to do gymnastics when I was younger, but I quit because one time my coach told me to tighten my butt muscles, and I didn't like that. I don't know. I really hate roses, or the idea of receiving flowers. Actually, oh, the sun's going away. Okay, cool. I don't like roses and I don't like the idea of receiving flowers. But if I am going to receive flowers, they have to be poppies or peonies. And it's kind of weird because poppies represent death. I was born at 11:45 at night, which was 15 minutes before my mom's birthday. I have a weird fascination with space, which started when I was really young. I kind of love it, kind of hate it, freaks me out, find it interesting, I don't know, it's weird. And the last one, I actually taught myself how to ride a bike and how to tie my shoes, which explains why I tie my shoes really strangely now, but at least it's faster than everybody else. Anyway, if you like this, please give it a thumbs up, it would help me out a lot. Yeah, I'll see you soon. Cute. You look good. With you.